Hello there and welcome back. Today, let's evaluate PocketBase. So, what's PocketBase? Most of us here we are familiar with something like Google Firebase, Upright, and much more. So, all these backend solutions help us simplify our workflow. PocketBase is a simple one, which is fast open source, and the deployment is a single file. So, what does PocketBase offer? First and foremost, it offers a real-time database to allow you to subscribe to events in your database, allows you to have an authentication out of the box. And this the authentication is not just the username and password, but also allows you to add providers. If you want users to log in, maybe using the Google out provider or the Facebook, whichever. So all of them are actually already included in the Pocket Base. Also offers file storage for you to store all those files for your users, either using the local storage or adding an S3 storage. And lastly, offers a very nice, beautiful admin dashboard. So this is the admin dashboard, how it looks like, and you shall be looking at it in a second. One of the best features I've seen at PocketBase is its extensibility, as it's actually being expanded here. So if you want to add some new functionality which maybe the current PocketBase does not offer, then you can get to extend that functionality using the SDK or using Go. So PocketBase is written actually in Golang, and so if you're using Go, then you can just import PocketBase as a package in Go. If you're using JavaScript, they offer a JavaScript SDK, a very nice one. If you are working in Flutter or Dart, then a Dart SDK is offered. Apart from that, of course, you can get to access everything in the database using the APIs. So you don't have to really use the SDK for you to actually access the database here. So let's look at the admin dashboard. First of all, they offer a live demo whereby you can get to see and play with PocketBase and some of its features. So if you switch over to the admin dashboard, for the first time you open it, you'll be asked to log in using these credentials. It's actually shown up here, and as they say here, all the data in this database is cleared every hour, so you can't really get to use it for your own, maybe to show your data for quite some long period of time. The first option you have is the collections, and collections, think of them as tables if you're from the SQL side of things, because PocketBase by itself is an aligned database, actually SQLite. So collections here refer to tables, and now all this data now on your right are now the rows in your collections. This from the test demo, these are the collections you have: the users collection, the messages, and the posts. We shall get to actually play with once we launch our own instance. Secondly, of course, we get offered logs, and all these logs are from all the activities you are doing, accessing data from our database. Lastly, you have the settings tab, whereby now you can get to configure some parameters about your database. So we'll not really play with them here. So first, let's look how to get PocketBase up and running in your machine, and then we'll get started from there. So to get started, first and foremost, depending on the platform you want to run in, access the pocketbase.io/docs, and here you can get to download a binary for your specific platform. For my case, I'm using Windows x64, so this is my choice. If you're using Linux, there's also a Linux binary, and if you're using macOS, there's also a macOS binary. So once you download this binary, because I've already downloaded it and extracted it, it's a zip file. You will get something like this, whereby you have a pocketbase.exe file, and then maybe just some two files, which are for this case not really important. So to spin up a PocketBase instance, then you're going to open our command prompt from this same directory, and then to just spin up the server, just do PocketBase, and then just do the serve command. So there are many other parameters you can pass as flags for this command, but for our case currently, that's not really important. So by default, PocketBase will offer you two endpoints to work with. The first one is the API endpoints. You need to query data collections and all those kind of information from your database. You'll work with the API endpoint, and it also gives you the admin endpoint. So if you want to access the admin dashboard, so the base URL is same. Just you need to use the underscore as the next path here. So let's open first the admin dashboard. We have a look at how it looks like. So first and foremost, you'll be required to set up your admin account for you to actually to work with PocketBase. So this is what we are serving locally. So it's our local instance, not the demo instance. So let's use a very nice email. Let's work with admin@admin.com, and then let's give a very strong password. So mine, I'm just giving 12920 just for the demo, and then create an account. And so once you create an account, now you'll be brought to a similar dashboard as what you are looking at for the demo dashboard, this one. First and foremost, this, as we talked about it earlier, this is the collections tab. And for us to create a collection, by default we are given a users collection, but you can get to remove it if you don't like it. So let's create a new collection. How to do it? Use this new collection button. Give it a name. So let's just give it, as we have been told, a posts collection. And there are 3 types of collections to work with. So the first one is the type base collection, and with the base collection, automatically the ID and the date created and updated fields are added for you. So with a view collection is just a read only kinda. So if you are familiar with SQL has something called SQL views, whereby in this case you're just going to define an SQL query that will aggregate data from different collections. So it's only for viewing and reading. So you can create a view collection, and last you can create an out collection. As the name suggests, it's mostly used for authentication. So you might have users logging into your maybe your application. You might have maybe managers, maybe different roles that need to log and have their data separately. So with the out collection, you get ability now to allow users to log in, either using username and passwords, maybe out providers, and much more. So for our case, we shall be working with the base collection because this is a post collection. And now you'll have to add the new fields. As I said earlier, under the hood, we're working with an SQL database. So PocketBase allows us to have some kind of a different kind of types of fields you can work with. So for our case, let's give it maybe a plain text. Let's give it title for the collection, and then second, let's give it maybe a rich text, and let's say the post itself. And then let's maybe give it a number. Let's give it likes, and then maybe let's give it maybe a file, and let's call it maybe the banner image. And maybe lastly, what else should I add it? Oh, okay. Not really. I don't want the date, so you can delete it from here. Maybe let's just have a bool. Just call it deleted. So the deleted field, maybe you can mark it yes or no if the post has been deleted. I'm just giving an illustration, so not really how you should be able to do it. Apart from that, you have additional fields like a relation field is like when you want to show a relationship between different collections. Maybe you have a posts collection and you have maybe a users collection, and you want to know exactly who posted this, who made this post. So we'll create a relation here. Let's actually make it, and then let's just do here the user or the owner of the post, and the collection we are linking it is the users collection. And for this case, you can have single or multiple users. So if it's something maybe you want to allow multiple people to have relation to it, then you can set multiple. For our case, let's leave it as a single, and then let's create it. So before even you go there, one of the things also to look at is the API rules. PocketBase allows you to set collection specific rules on how data should be accessed. By default, PocketBase has 4 major rules: the list, the view, the create, the update, and the delete, actually 5 major ones. So this actually defines how data is listed or searched. By default, it's actually admin only, so no other users can actually fetch this data. For the view rule, is when you just want to check a specific data. So if you unselect it, then if you leave it empty, then by default anyone can view. For the create rule, similarly, who can create this data, who can create a new post data. So you can leave it empty to allow anyone to access. But one of the if you want to secure maybe from spam, one of the best ways, of course, is to ensure that you use you access the requests, and then let's do ID. So you can set some of these queries to ensure that whoever wants to create a post first has to be authenticated. So what you're saying basically is if the request authentication.id, basically the user who is actually making this request to create a new post, as long as their ID is not invalid or actually empty, then allow them to create a new role. So for this, like updating, you might want to ensure that whoever is updating this post then is either the creator of the post. So for you to update this role, then maybe you can say show that the request .id, it should be equal to, because in our collection we have a user relation, so you can do user.id. So the user ID has to match the request ID. So if they match, allow the user to update. And deleting also, you can just maybe set maybe similar to this. So there are many options you can work with if you want to set a row level access for your data. But for now, what I'm just going to do is just leave them blank. That way anyone can actually make the requests just for testing purposes, but you know actually how to set them now. So let's create that. So now we have two of them. So for us to test, first let's create a user which you shall use for relation. Just by default an ID will be generated for you, so leave it blank, and a username will be generated for you, so leave it blank. So let's just call the person John Doe at user.com. Generate this password, copy. Let's just say the user is verified. Let's just call the person John Doe. Will not upload an image for now, but you can actually upload it there. Now once you come back to our post collection, so you can now create a new post, a record here by clicking there. An ID is automatically generated for us, so let's just call it hello world here. So a very nice post you can make is let's just call it a very nice post with rich text enabled. Yes. So you can select this, set it in bold. So you can get now to set up, create your own post now, how you want it to look like. And then let's give it 0 likes. You can add an image, you can say deleted, and then now you can give a relation to a specific user. You can say this now made by John Doe, set, and then create. So this is how now you'll have your new records. So with this, one of the best things about PocketBase is now you can now access all this data from an API or the SDK. For the API, if you just click on this API preview button on the top right, it opens this new window. And now we talked earlier about these 5 rules: the list, view, create, update, and delete. For our case, if you want to list or search, if you're using the SDK, you can just copy this code here and just start now working with it. It's actually collection aware. That's why it's already giving you the collections name, which is post. That way, if you just copy this data and actually run it, it actually give you some response back actually, which is actually content aware. If you want to view specific data, maybe based on the record ID or whichever, so you can now use this view tab. to give you already a code to work with. For the create, similarly, you already have that, and the update, and then the delete also has the same. If you want to work with the real time, whereby you want to get real time updates from your collection, then this is what you'll be working with. It actually uses the server sent event, so not WebSockets in this case. Yeah. So if you just copy this, you'll be up and running. So one of the things also I want to highlight is if you're working with the API, then each of these list search you'll have an API you can work with. So you have an API / collections, post, records, and now it gives you the parameters you need to pass in and what should be the expected output. If you want to do any of these operations, then you have the API endpoint to work with, as well as you have the SDK code you can work with. So quite really useful. We talked earlier about the logs, so currently you don't have any. Under settings, you can get now to set your application. Let's just call ours maybe our blog. And then if you're hosting this somewhere, then put the application URL here, because when you're doing things like authentication, maybe using Auth or whichever you want to confirm your account, there'll be a redirect back to your database. So if you put here localhost, then automatically it will not be found. So if you need to put the real URL, maybe using if you're having a domain name, you can put the domain name here already, and then automatically it will be redirected back to your database for confirmation. Yeah. If you want to use email services, this way you do the settings. So by default, you need to set up the SMTP email server if you're hosting it somewhere. Depending on the provider you're working with, you need to check with them and confirm the SMTP server host, the port they're working with, the username and the password for the sender's email. Yeah. So once you set this, you'll be able now to send things like a default verification email for the users. And as I said earlier, the app name will be automatically pre-filled. Yeah. So the user will get an email like verify our domain, our blog email. And then the action URL is actually, once you click that button to verify, the app URL will be put here. So you need to ensure that it's a valid URL that I can refer back to your database here. Then once you set up the SMTP, everything here, you can save and set. You can now send a test email. So maybe you have an email you want to test it to see if actually it's working. You set up your email address here, and then you can send the email. Yeah. File storage, by default, as I said earlier, PocketBase stores all your data in the local storage, but similarly you can set up an S3 bucket to have all your data stored there. So this bucket will be used to store both your data from your database, as well as maybe you're going to do backups. You can use the S3 bucket also to store the backup. Sorry. Backups, you can set how often you want to have a backup of your old database by setting up a cron job here. For the sync, basically, if you want to export and import the collections, you can access them here. You can export them into a JSON file and import them in a new instance of the JSON file. We talked earlier about auth providers. So there are many already pre-configured. So all you just need to do is to set up the client ID and the client secret, and then you can get to use the auth providers for your database. Yeah. In terms of security, you have a token options whereby you can set the how long should the tokens be valid before actually they are invalidated. So to ensure that maybe you maintain some kind of security both for the admins as well as the normal users. So you can set the different tokens options for when they should be invalidated. Yeah. Lastly, on the admin part, so if you need to add new admins, configure new admin, this way you work with. So you can create a new admin and then give them an email and a password, and that's all. So unlike a normal users who can log in, admins don't have the ability to set their roles, their images and things like that. So because they have access to everything. So once your admin is logged in, they can access everything in the database. So you ensure that whoever you're setting as an admin, you'll have that access actually. So let's try and test this using the API. I've opened Insomnia, so you can use any other application for you to do HTTP requests because I want us to test our database. So I'm going to put it on the side and then also in our database here. First, let's see if we can query this data. Let's open the API preview. Let's come down here. I can now copy this part, the API, and I can paste it here. So if I execute this, so it actually tells me that only admins can perform this action. Reason being is that when you are making, let's close this first. Let's come back to once you're in your collections posts. There's a gear icon here. You can edit your collection. Come to API rules. Under API rules, you look at this list of such rules says that it's actually admins only because you have not unlocked it. But if you click here, sorry, I think my Insomnia just updated. Interesting. Okay, sorry, my Insomnia just updated midway. So as I was saying, for your post, let's remove the admins only settings. Let's make it open for everyone and let's save the changes. So let's make this request again. Interesting. Yeah, that should be it. Yeah, nice. So once you unlock to be open, then you can get data. Because you are listing everything, then the results will be paginated, whereby you'll be told maybe the current page you're working with on the number of content per pages. So that's actually really important, and you can get your data back. If you want to create a new post, then you'll have to change this to a post request. And then if you're working with a post request, then we have to pass in some data into a body. Let's give it a JSON, and so you will have to pass in the set title. It should be in quotes. Let's do our second blog, and then for the blog itself, you can just put a very nice description. So because most of the other parameters were not really set as required or mandatory, then if we execute this, then it should go through. Let's do a post request. Yeah, so we already have that sent successfully, and our new post has been created and returned. So if we reload this one, we will have a new blog post created for us. So our second blog, I think the post part was not updated, unfortunately, but you get how you can work with. So with SDK, it's kind of a similar process. Just set up everything and launch it. With that, you've seen actually how to use PocketBase. I'd really say it's actually a very nice project. Being a single file, you can get to deploy it with much ease without a lot of dependencies. If you need to modify the original PocketBase, you can import it into a Go project, edit some few things, and then build it. Now have a different kind of PocketBase binary, which already has your changes inbuilt. If not so, you can use JavaScript to extend it and ship also the same. So a very nice project, highly recommended. Mostly if you want to spin something very fast to test out or even see how it scales. As PocketBase already says that they claim it's actually if you come to FAQs, we'll talk about the scale. So they are talking about they can actually support up to 10,000 persistent real-time connections. So that's quite actually commendable. Knowing that actually under the hood it uses an SQLite database. Yeah. So with that, I hope you found this informative and interesting. Give it a try. Try and see how you can use PocketBase. What I've been able to do with it, a lot of things. Maybe you're building your UI and just want to spin up an API to set up everything up and going. You don't have time to start configuring authentications, writing the API code, and all that kind of things. So you can focus on building the solutions and have everything else handled for you. So check it out. If you found it interesting, like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.